Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of S&B Monthly, the best worst book club. I'm your co-host, Bekk.
And I'm Stephanie.
We are two sisters-in-law that spend too much time on book talk, ogling hockey players, and playing Stardew Valley. We sit down once a month to discuss what we've read, what we recommend, amongst other various topics that our squirrel brains may lead us down.
Heads up, we are adults and we do discuss adult topics. So if you are not an adult and or feel uncomfortable with the thought of either of us discussing gore, violence, sex, abuse, yum and yucks, maybe don't listen to this.
Do you have any trigger warnings for us this episode? Because I do, and it's the mention of rape, assault, sexual assault, descriptive torture, violence, and death.
I actually don't have anything for this month. A little bit about some beheadings, but it's not going to be anything in detail or too graphic for anybody, I don't think.
It's actually very surprising that I do and you do not. So
I know, because that's usually the opposite.
It absolutely is. And I say the best worst book club because generally we don't read the same book at the same time, but we did this month and I am so proud of us. Yay! And that book was A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher.
Oh, so good. So, I would call it a mystery thriller. What would you say? Would you?
So I would say it's more like Lovecraftian, Southern Gothic horror thriller situation. Yeah. Because there is definitely mystery elements to it as far as like you're trying to figure out what is going on, but there's no like police investigation or anything. So which definitely. I'm not the biggest fan of, but we'll get.
It was just like I don't know. I guess it's not really a mystery, but I was looking at it as like what is like, happening? What's going to happen? What's going on? Like trying to figure out what's going on. But yeah, definitely not like one of those. What is those shows like?
Criminal Minds or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah. One of those. Yeah, no, nothing like that.
Oh, Law and Order. Yeah.
There it is. Yeah. Yeah. 247 pages, so not like terribly long, and I gave it 4 stars. My favorite character was Sam. Who was yours?
I also liked Sam. I feel like T. Kingfisher does have like this really good way of describing very like personable characters. Mm-hmm. She's on the chubby side. She has a thyroid issue, which was also very interesting, like a little coincidence there. But she's very funny and like generally likable. I also did like, what was the dude's name?
Philip,
yes.
Yeah, I liked him too. He was fun. He was sweet. We should probably talk with so if you guys are wondering what the book was about, Becky, you're way better at this.
Okay, sure. So Samantha is a bug biologist / archaeologist. She moves in with her mom temporarily while being furloughed from an excavation site because they find human remains, right? So when she arrives, she notices pretty quickly that things are a little off. Like her mom has lost a lot of weight. She's acting weird. The house is in a different state than that she had left it in. This is the house that she grew up in. And it's stark white. There's a painting that's on the wall that, or I think it's a photograph that's on the wall that it didn't used to be. It starts off very, I would say like to the T of a Kingfisher book where single woman moves to house with weird things kind of situation. And then her mom leaves to do a job and she is left in the house that was previously her grandma May's house. Samantha calls her brother Brad, and apparently her mom has told her that his Hispanic wife is no longer welcome back. So things are just really weird.
Yeah, and her mom is like a colorful person and a very progressive person, and you know her mother, the grandmother, was not very conservative, and so it's just weird with the paintings on the wall and like everything being white. Like how
it's a Confederate photo.
Yeah. That's not, and her mom is like, no,
so against it. Yeah, and it previously really was in the attic, and then they brought it back down.
Right.
So then things start to get a little weird. There's an infestation of ladybugs. The roses are perfectly trimmed, and everybody says that they have not touch them, do not do anything with the roses. And there is no bugs whatsoever in the backyard.
And she like was looking for them because that's her job. Like she loves bugs, and she was something that like you and I may have not noticed. She definitely took notice too. Yeah.
So overall, I really enjoyed it. And I will say that I never thought I would be creeped out by the idea of ladybugs or roses. But there's an instance where like they're just crawling on the carpet and you just kind of crawl with them. Like your skin is just crawling.
Yeah. It's just the way she describes things.
Right.
It's just, yeah.
And it was very like in Bekk nature to try to get them all out of the house without harming them too, which was so cute.
Yeah, we can't hurt them.
Yeah,
you actually did have a lot in common with Sam.
Yeah,
say. It's kind of cool. I remember you finished it before I did, and you were saying the character's relatable, which she is. She's even relatable to me. But the more I'm reading, I'm like, okay,
yeah.
I'm like her and like T. Kingfisher homies apparently, and I just don't know.
Apparently, yeah. She just I have a sister named Samantha.
I didn't know her name was Samantha.
No.
And he had a sister. Oh my god.
But like even the random IDing of like bugs as she's like going on walks. I do that with plants, not like to the specific scientific name, but I'm definitely like, oh, that's a California poppy.
Yep,
hey, Jeff, did you know that is a cottonwood tree? Like so stupid.
It's so true. That's so funny. So did you have a favorite quote in the book?
Yeah, so it was kind of funny because my mom is very similar to her mom as far as like the worrying aspect. Like she really does like sit down and like call me and like make sure I'm okay. My favorite quote is on page 21, and it's, if there was an Olympic sport for worrying, Mom would win the gold and then give it to the silver medalists because she was afraid that they might feel bad for losing. And
so good.
That's so my mom. So even that is like very similar. Did you have a favorite quote?
I did. Mine's Sam, and it's page 126. And I'm not going to talk too much about what she's alluding to because I don't want to give anything away. But it's, I just thought it was a little creepy, and this is when you really start to realize things aren't quite right. But it was, I mean, before that, but it's really going
drills
in on
it
different.
In.
Yeah. Maybe someone was feeding them severed limbs, and they're hoping it will start up again. Stop that, damn it! It was a doll arm. Doll arms don't have dirt under their fingernails. So that I loved it because it's that internal monologue that Kingfisher is just
so good at. Like,
oh, better. And I'm gonna get into that again with Paladin's Grace because oh my god, the internal.
Oh yeah, you read that too.
It. Yeah, it was so good. And the internal monologue in that one, I won't get started on that one yet. Let me wait. But that quote
so
for
hyped.
me was, I know I get really excited, way too excited. But that quote for me, I remember reading it and being like, ooh, because there's like creepy stuff happening, but when you're reading that, it just, I don't know, for me, it was like, okay, this is a little scary. Like, this is a little creepy.
Yeah, so that like actually feeds into my favorite part of the book, which was she was like going back and forth because she's sleeping on the couch because of the infestation of ladybugs in her room. Right. And she's like half asleep thinking about, is there actually something out on the deck or am I just imagining that? And then she wakes up with her head craned towards the deck. And oh my God, it was so creepy.
Yeah, she's just so great at just, I don't know, everything she does. Just writing is just amazing.
Yeah, I think she's like really good with like creating an anxious setting without using like gore or being gross. It's just really unsettling.
Yeah, it's just, yes, very much so. Very much so. And the vultures were really a really nice element. I liked that.
Of course, I loved that.
Of course you did. And I liked Gale. Gale was like, I've seen her as like Stevie Nicks.
Oh, yeah.
Like the little, like the witchy, awesome older woman down the street. Like, I love her. I want to be Gale's friend. She was, I really liked her character.
Yeah, she had more of like a native wildlife garden than Grandma May's manicured roses. Yeah. Very nice, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be like Sam and Gale combined is Bekk. Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for, saving the bees, natural wildlife,
Oh
and all
yeah,
of that. Yeah, for sure.
absolutely. And then one more thing about the book I was going to mention with you is, what did you think about the teeth? Finding the teeth buried.
Oh,
Isn't that creepy?
so there's a book that I read this year. It's called We Have Always Lived in the Castle, and it's by Shirley Jackson.
Okay.
And the main character, her whole thing is like she buries things. And it was very reminiscent of that book because like she will take somebody's watch, she'll take a book, a photograph, like things that are other people's things, and she will go and bury them in the forest to protect herself and her sister. So
That's
it was
crazy.
I had flashbacks to that. And then,
It's like reading Womb and then watching Dahmer, and if you know, you know, but the mannequins.
The mannequins. And then the mannequins just pop up everywhere.
All the time.
All
they're
the time.
everywhere now. They were never a thing. Now they're a thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then like I had a like Facebook memory pop up too where I was taking a CPR class and I named the mannequin Manny Quinn. I'm like, why is this in the same timeline?
Oh no. Oh no.
I know. It's crazy.
Oh, but yeah, it's funny because now I love this book. So when I see ladybugs, I will think of her. Just like willow trees, I think of her. I mean, there's so many things that I see, and
bad
I'm like,
taxidermy.
Right?
Yeah,
horrible taxidermy. Oh, any kind of oddity. She has so many things that keep you connected to her and her books that you just see around. And I don't know how she does that because I've read so many books and there's things in all the books, but the way she has you connect with certain things, like the ladybug thing, like.
Yeah.
I know when I see a ladybug, I'm going to think of this book and I'm going to think of her. So I just think it's cool how I don't know how she does that.
Like the synchronicity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you've read The Twisted Ones yet by her.
No,
but
I
you will
haven't.
definitely like have that with that book as well.
Yes. I have I need to put that on my list. I have what's the other one?
Are you talking about What Moves the Dead?
Yes.
Yes.
What Moves the Dead? That's another one that
I
really.
Oh my god,
really
that one's mushrooms. Every time you see mushrooms, you're going to think of that book.
So which one would you? Which one should I read first? Twisted Ones or What Moves the Dead? Because you know me and you know what I like.
Yeah, so I would say, well, do you like Edgar Allan Poe?
I do.
So What Moves the Dead is a retelling of the House of Usher, or the Fall of the House of Usher. I also found the Hollow Places and the Twisted Ones very similar in I guess even the What Moves the Dead is a very similar. Person comes from outside to a house that is weird and has to deal with it, basically, is the T. Kingfisher like template. But it's not bad.
It always works.
It does.
For her. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I plan on reading both of them at one point or another.
So I did also give this book 4 stars if anybody was even curious. Because we've just been
blah, 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 blah,
yeah, we love this book. So would recommend 4 stars, no spice. On to the next one.
Yeah. Moving on.
So I did read 3 other books this month. I know you read 2, so I think I'll start with, I read Beautiful Graves by L.J. Shen. It is a contemporary romance book that is on Kindle Unlimited. So if anybody, that matters to anybody, it matters to me, obviously, because I have a Kindle and I pay.
I don't.
Yeah.
I need to get one.
It is a 2-part love triangle story. Ever is the main female character. She just graduated from high school when she meets Joe on vacation to Spain with her friend Pippa. And Joe, the main male character, is my type to a T. He has dark hair. He wears Levi's and Chucks. Just chef's kiss. The main character Ever wants to design gravestones, and he wants to write a book. She has to leave basically the next day, so they promise that they'll be boyfriend-girlfriend, and he'll be back into the States soon. Kind of jarring, we cut 6 years later in the story. Joe's out of the picture for some unknown reason. and her mom is dead. Fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
She has a rocky relationship with her dad and brother. She lives with her roommate Nora in Salem, Massachusetts.
Awesome.
I know, right?
Place.
Pause. Have you
Sorry.
ever been to Salem?
No.
Oh, okay.
I've been to Salem, Oregon.
No, I haven't been to Oregon at all, so
Oregon's beautiful. You would fall in love. Probably don't go there.
probably don't go there. I won't come
Yeah,
back.
probably don't go there. Yeah, nope. I don't want you ever going to the Pacific Northwest. Just stay away.
Just stay away.
It's too far from me. For selfish reasons.
For selfish.
Like, would you be happy? Yes.
Yes,
but no. Too far away.
It is very far away.
It's really beautiful there. It's just...
Well, you know, there's always planes and trains and cars. It's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, part 1 revolves around the story of Ever and Dom. His name is Dominic. She meets him while her cat escapes her apartment and finds herself at Dom's apartment. It takes a little convincing, but she ends up dating Dom. It's a little bit of whirlwind romance. They get engaged very shortly after. Also, it is a love triangle, but I want to keep it spoiler free, so I'm going to stop there. But there is 2 huge twists in the book. Yeah. I think it is actually pretty well known if you scroll on TikTok and you search the book. Dom does die. So it's not that much of a twist, but the surrounding situations of it is a twist for sure.
Okay.
It's a very emotional book, but there's no horror or angst or anything. It's just, dealing with your significant other dying as well as your mother dying and
drama.
Yeah, it's a contemporary romance. So of course there's got to be a little drama in there for you to have the happily ever after or whatever.
Is it spicy?
It is. I gave it 4 little jalapenos out of 5. Because the spice it enhances the story instead of take away from the story. So right. I liked that because a lot of the times when you do read romance or contemporary romance, it just feels oh, we're having sex again. Okay.
Yeah. Sex. Little bit of story. Sex. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I like to have a plot.
Yeah. Porn with plot.
Thank you.
I mean, every once in a while there is a case for just no plot whatsoever. But that's more of the weird Mothman or Bear Shifter situations.
Those ads you get for werewolf romances on Facebook.
Ones. Yeah.
And will I sit there and read it until it's purchase? Yes.
Absolutely. I need to know who's the alpha.
And I'm reading and reading and reading and reading. And the whole time my brain is stupid, but I'm keep reading and reading.
And reading and reading.
Oh my god. Anyways. Yeah.
Same. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars because I did roll my eyes a couple of times. The main Joe is mediocre is boring, and then being goth and calling yourself that is kind of cringe to me. The word tat instead of tattoo is a little cringe, but
sweet tats.
The sweet tats. Where'd you get that tat? It's oh my god. No judgment. I'm just part of the I don't know, the time and place where you still hid your tattoo.
All your pictures aren't you have them conveniently out.
Right. Or we start with where we can hide instead of right on our hands. Yeah, but
and I mean you do you, but yeah, different times.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
I'm just aging myself here.
Oh, I don't want to even hear it. We were talking about Bruce Campbell and
oh my god.
I'm how do you he was in Spider-Man and you're I was 11 when that came out.
I was 11 when Spider-Man came out.
Oh cool. I was buying beer, so it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Enjoy your youth. So yeah.
And we also brought up Bruce Campbell because I have an intense crush on him.
He is the sweetest.
He is.
He is. I forgot that you're so much younger than me, and not in a bad way. I think I'm just not wanting to face it or what. I don't know.
I think
But yeah,
it also is because we do have so many similarities that it is kind of weird that there is that age gap.
yeah, it's yeah. Because how old are you?
I am, oh my God.
Say it.
I
Say
have
it.
to, no. After 30, I completely forgot how to keep track. I'm 31. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure. Yeah.
I'm 40. I don't like saying it out loud.
Oof.
It
No, I
hurts.
know. It's, well, you know.
I don't know why. I mean, it's like kind of cool, but like more sucks, I think. And I think that's just society. Like
Yeah.
when you're a man that gets older, it's like, oh,
Oh,
like you're a silver
fine wine.
fox and this
Yeah.
and that. And us, we're just tainted
Just,
and
yeah. Because
damaged goods.
you stop being useful after a certain age, I guess, is the
Yeah,
idea.
that's how it feels.
Hmm.
But
When that menopause, well,
that's why I read books.
there,
Feel better. I'm just kidding.
no,
I do wish there was more. That's why I like about T. Kingfisher. I do want books with like an older, like it's always these young women, and like I love reading them. Don't get me wrong, but it's
Mhm.
like like I want there to be a woman my age or like in her 30s. Like that's nice. Like give me that. Who's who's
Yeah.
lived some life, who like is an adult, who knows what's going on, who's not like it's like no, give me that like
Or that you feel
strong
bad
female
because
character.
they're like obviously being taken advantage of.
Yeah, like they're
Yeah.
naive. They don't
Right.
know.
No, I
Right.
agree with you. I definitely
Yeah.
go out of my way. Like as soon as I hear or see I'm 18 years old or whatever, I put that on the abandoned list.
That kind of creeps me out when they're that young. Like,
Hmm.
ugh. Yeah. Especially some of the books. Like, nah.
No, you're right.
Yeah. Like, this is kind of.
That's I do. So LJ Shen, her books also follow kind of like a template. I'm currently reading another one, but hers do definitely have like a young situation where like it's young love. It's very naive, and then she goes 6, 8, whatever years in the future. So you do get that like older.
I like that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I mean, I've read books that are youngins. Like, it doesn't. It's just, it would be nice to see more of a variety of age when it comes to women.
Yes.
Because there's all kinds of books where there's like an older.
I would also personally like to see taller women because it's always like small, frail little
Mhm.
ladies. And as someone that's on the
Yeah, you're
taller side,
tall.
yeah, I'm 5'9".
Yeah.
So
Mm.
it's kind of like, well, okay, I can't get into this because like
Yeah.
unless
She
the
can't be
dude's like
me.
7 feet tall, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really noticed that because I'm not. So maybe that's why.
That could be
But
why.
yeah. But it's always like a. That's what I like about Teen Kingfisher. It's not some like young.
No, they're all
And that
very damaged.
they're just normal, you know?
Nice and normal.
Nice and normal. Just like grandma wants.
Just like grandma wants.
Yeah. Read the book, you'll know what we're talking about. Anyway.
Would
Okay.
recommend.
All right. Sorry.
No,
I
it's
do
okay.
this all the time.
So, I would if you're into contemporary romance and you don't mind like a little eye roll here and there, I would recommend it. But on to you.
Okay, so one of mine I'm going to talk about. And this is a series I've been reading. I read the last book of it, so I have to talk about it. And it was a very short book. I have been sick, and it's been hockey playoffs, and I didn't read that much. But anyways, Fire Night by Penelope Douglas. It was book 6 of the Devil's Night series. So it was very short, 95 pages, little guy. Dark romance is the genre of the series. That one, it has a little bit of romance here and there, but it wasn't the overall. Not as much as the other books. Again, it's short and it's kind of just wrapping up this series. So it takes place years after they have all had their kids and their kids are growing up. And I talked a little bit about these books in the last episode we did here. So I mean, they're still rich enough to get into their situations because babysitting and everything. They got nannies because they're all very wealthy. It wasn't a believable or realistic series by any means, but it was entertaining. It held my attention. I was never bored. I did want to know what was going to happen next. So I have to give it that. Like I was never bored. I can see in the novella she talks. It kind of goes more into like the children's what's going on with them. They're still young, but she's definitely like setting up for maybe something later on with them. I'm not super interested in that. I just feel like okay, it's done. That's it. One of the characters was actually one of the kids. I can see there'd probably be a real cool story about him. But all of these kids are going to be very reminiscent of their parents, and I feel like it would be recycled material if they try to do some kind of spin-off with the children. So I hope they just leave it as it is.
Well, it also does feel weird, like having read about the children and then, I don't know, like grooming almost.
Yeah, because they're kids, and like it's weird.
It is weird.
So it's a fun read. I guess all in all, you couldn't just read this book by itself. You'd be like, what? You wouldn't know what's going on. This series, you do have to read every single one in order. You have to, or you're going to be completely lost. So that's one thing if you do want to read it. I gave this 3 stars. It's not great, but I was so interested the whole time. There is good plots. It's fun. It's a fun read. I wouldn't say it's like anything. It's not going to change your life. Okay. But it was very, very fun. Every chapter's a cliffhanger. You know, it's like watching one of those shows on TV where it's like, what's going to happen next? It was very much like that. I read them really fast because I needed to know. I would just say it's fun. Definitely as a series, because that book was really small. So it's kind of hard to get into any details about it. The series itself, Devil's Night, Penelope Douglas, it's pretty good. It's very long. I would say, give the first book a whirl. And if you like that, you will continue if you like that, because they're all cliffhangers and you're like, oh. So it's not bad. It's not bad. If you want to read something very deep and meaningful and like, this ain't it. But if you want to just have some fun, get your mind off things, there's some spice in some of these books that's like, woo. But it was fun. I will say that.
Was there spice in this one?
No.
What?
I mean, ish. Not like the others. I think after reading the others, it was like there's a little, very little. Like it's there, but it's more just wrapping up loose ends in the book. I mean, yeah, they still, they're still having a good time, but it doesn't go into detail.
Oh, so it's like an epilogue almost.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It really is. Yeah. I did have a favorite quote I'll read. It was actually from one of the children. And he's gonna have a hard go in his life. He's not all there. But I like him because of it. He's like a cool kid. But it says, I like noise, rain and birds and wind. I just didn't like other people's noise. It made the room feel small, too small. I couldn't think. And I really like that because so many of the characters, he's very reminiscent of Damon, which is one of my favorite characters in the book. But he is a very, very, very smart kid. And I just liked getting into his mind like that. It was very reminiscent of Damon. And like that's relatable. Like I understand that quote. And coming from a child, it's like, wow, pretty interesting. And his parents, Kai, they're not very, you would think it was Damon's kid saying that. So that was kind of odd. But even with all that, I still don't want to spin off. Like, nope, just leave it. That's me. So.
And how many books are in this series?
So it lists as 4 because it says like one of them's 3.5 and one of them's 4.5.
Sure.
It's 6. It's 6. You got to buy 6 or read 6. Like, oh, this is book 4.5. No, it's book 6.
It's book 6.
So yeah, it's just small. So yeah, 2 of them are novellas and then 4 of them are novels. So 4 of them are very long. I think the longest one is it's over 800 pages. So they're not short by any means. They are interesting. They kept my attention. I enjoyed them and they are fun. So like I said, if you're looking for something like deep and meaningful and changing your life, nope. But if you want to have some fun, escape reality, read a bunch of little spicy things, that's it. It has a good plot too. It really does. It does.
All right.
That's all I got. That's all I have to say about that.
What did you rate it out of like?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good.
I gave that 3 stars.
Oh yeah.
I would say the overall series, I am giving it 4, and that's a lot because I barely give anything 5. But I was so entertained. Like I can't give something, oh, well, it wasn't super meaningful. No, but I was into it. Like I needed to know what was going to happen. Like
right.
For a book to take, like for me to read it that fast and me to be that into it is, even though it's not anything, like I said, deep or meaningful or thoughtful or like think about it everywhere I go. Like, no, but I was so entertained. Like I love it. I loved it. I was like, what's going to happen? I enjoyed the series. It wrapped up well. Endings are huge. Like if the ending sucks, I will hate the whole thing. It did wrap up nicely with a little bow. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was one of my other questions is like, how were you satisfied with the ending?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Which is rare for me.
I will say that April was kind of a letdown for me as far as books, because a lot of them did end up being like 3 stars out of 5.
Oh.
So my next one, spoiler, is 3 stars out of 5. It's called The Keeper of Enchanted Rooms, and it's by Charlie N. Holberg. It is a historical fantasy / romance, but there is no spice whatsoever. So, was a little disappointed. No, I'm just kidding.
Boring. No, I'm just kidding.
Right?
I'm just kidding.
Boo. So the main character is Merritt Fernsby. He inherits this house, but he inherits this house that he didn't even know his grandma had. And it had been inhabited for almost a century. But like me, he's been renting forever and can't really give up a free house. So he moves in almost immediately. And almost as soon as he does, the house locks him in. I should also mention that magic is a thing in this book. Like, there is like different spells that different people can have. Magic is kind of dying out because eugenics, basically. Like, not enough magic people are dating magic people to make more magic people. Boston Institute for Keeping of Enchanted Rooms, or Biker for short, is like this magic institute that has all these folks that work for it that are trying to keep up with like magic houses. Well, basically just magic houses, but there's different things within that same government that are trying to keep up with like making more magic babies, or like keeping track of genetics and ancestry. Like, if you have this spell and this person has this spell, then what is the chance of the child having a percentage of whatever?
Okay.
That part I kind of was a little over, because it seemed like she was trying to do a really good job of like explaining it, but then it kind of fell short because like she didn't explain it enough, or she was explaining it too much in certain situations. So it was just very like, but it makes sense to the plot. So it's kind of 2 stories going on once. It's the house, and then earlier with our actual villain, Silas. You do come to understand why he did what he did, but not in a way that makes you feel like empathetic with him. So I appreciated that, because a lot of the times, for some reason, villains get that like pass almost, like, oh, he was bullied, so it's fine.
Why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't particularly like that. So I did appreciate that this book showed that it wasn't great. So the lady that comes from Biker also once worked for our villain, and now she's haunted kind of by what happened when she was working with him. I thought most of the characters were likable. I really liked the Howl's Moving Castle kind of vibes. If you haven't seen that movie, absolutely go and see it, because it is my favorite movie of all time. And it did seem well paced some of the time. Like, some of the time I'm like, is this chapter over yet? And some of the time I was like, oh, this is actually kind of interesting. With that being said, it did seem to be very heavily inspired by Harry Potter, which is fine. It's just like, if something's magic, it doesn't necessarily have to be Harry Potter, right?
Right.
The series does have a second book that came out in April, but I'm not compelled enough to actually read the second book. So,
is it a cliffhanger?
No, not at all. Like,
No?
it kind of it explains who the main character is, why he got the house in the first place, and I'm pretty sure the villain is, dealt with without spoiling it.
Right.
This is also Kindle Unlimited, and it does contain a free audiobook. So Kindle Unlimited
did
does.
Did you do the audiobook?
I did, yeah.
When I'm talking about books that they're hard copies, I don't have a Kindle.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just throw that out there. So whatever I'm talking, I don't know if it's on Kindle Unlimited. I paid for it. So, you'd have to look it up. It's something I've read.
Maybe you can give me like a list of the books you read, and I can figure it out. I know you read.
I guess I could look it up too.
That's okay. I have a Kindle. I can look it up. It's fine.
Okay.
I know Paladin's Grace and House with Good Bones is not on Kindle Unlimited.
Anyways, sorry, continue.
No, I think.
I'm horrible.
Yeah. So the main character and Hulda are kind of in a will they or will they not relationship, as far as like where the romance comes in.
Mm-hmm.
But Again, it's set in like the 1920s, 30s, so not a whole lot happens. But if you're into like magic, well, I can't even say like American history because a lot of it isn't like historically accurate, which makes me sound like a well actually, but just so you know, going in, it is not historically accurate.
Here it comes.
I know. I try so hard not to be a well actually, but for those who care.
We have a Bekk is a Snapple bottle cap. She knows all the things.
I don't know all the things. I just know a lot of things about things that I'm interested in.
Like, I am never playing you in Trivial Pursuit. I'll lose. I will lose. You will win. Like, I don't even want to play that game with you.
No, because I came in second at a Harry Potter trivia. So, I mean, there's a chance.
Second.
Well, I'm still mad about it, but
there's a reason, huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the lady that won was in cahoots with the host.
Oh,
because she was all the way up front. She was flirting, and I don't need an excuse, but I'm pretty sure that's why. Who gets 50 out of 50 questions correct on that? Come on.
Nobody.
No
How many did you
one.
get? How many did you get?
Like 45. I know.
Just 5? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
Sorry. Okay. Turn.
It is your turn.
Oh, okay.
I'm so sad.
All right. So I'm going to talk about the last book I read this month. I already started another one. We're going to get there. But I'm going to read more this month, I hope. This Paladin's Grace by, once again, T. Kingfisher. Oh, I love her. So you recommended this book. You gave me this book.
I gave you that book. Yeah.
And you said,
you can keep
have
it.
this book. I guess, so this one says T. Kingfisher, but I know it's been under a different pen name, right? Ursula something or other.
Ursula Vernon.
I have.
Yep.
I've seen it under that name as well.
I think that's around the time that she changed her name, her pen name, because she does also write children's books. So to distinguish herself.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So she can write anything and it's great. So I would call this a fantasy romance with, there's a little bit of thriller element, I would say. It's about a paladin, Stephen, and he's lost his god. God has died. And he has lost much of his identity after that as well. And there's a chance encounter with a perfumer, and it's actually really funny how they meet. It's hilarious. You will laugh. And it changes everything for the both of them. And they do develop a romance, and it is slow moving because they're both clueless when it comes to love and everything that and for right reasons, but it's really funny seeing how that finally block. You're like, finally, because you want them to
just get it over with already. Yeah.
But I mean, while you're learning about their romance and slowly because of their past, and there's also, there's heads being found around, and a prince is poisoned, and there's an ex who's a jackass, and accusations run wild, and it's just an insane story, and I loved it, and I gave it 4 stars.
Not 5. No, I'm just kidding.
No, my favorite characters were 2. Of course, Grace, because I just loved her, and I loved Marguerite.
Oh yeah,
loved it, and I don't want to give that away.
Well,
but
no.
She is Grace's like confidant, good friend. It's almost like family to her, and it's it's just great. She's great. I don't want to give anything away, but if you read it, like, pretty cool what happens. Yeah.
Do you want to borrow or have the second installment of that book? Because I have it. Or no. Yeah. Just kidding. It's on my Kindle.
Oof.
I forgot. Sorry.
No, I didn't want it anyway. So
maybe I'll just send it to you.
I will. I do. I think there's 3, right?
There's 3
altogether.
The first 2 are man and female. The final one is man. Again, I have nothing. There's nothing wrong with gay relationships, but I can't necessarily read them because I can't put myself into.
Right. I like things to be somewhat relatable, and if yeah.
And that's not to say that I think it has its place for sure. It's just I probably will not read it.
There's a book that I do want to read that's about 2 females. I haven't.
Well, that I can read.
So it's things have gotten worse since we last spoke.
Oh
Have you
yeah.
heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
I want to read that, and it does deal with a woman to woman couple, which I think will be okay. Man to man is it's a little different, I think, because
I
I'm
don't
a
know how
lady.
the dynamic with man-man relationship works as an insider, I guess, is where I would
Right.
find an issue, or not an issue, just find it hard to
Yeah,
relate.
could almost, yeah, exactly. So yeah, I heard there was 3. So you've read 2 of them.
I've read 2 of them. And you do,
Okay.
in the second book, I'm not going to spoil it, but you do figure out what's going on with the heads.
Okay, good, because there is a little, they found out a little bit, but not completely.
Not enough for you to be like
This is
satisfied with the ending. Yes.
yeah, okay, cool. I really liked Steven.
Mm-hmm.
Smells of gingerbread, and for some reason I thought that was the cutest thing, but then they all do, because that I can't say his name. Ishvan or whatever makes
Oh,
the
Estefan?
that one.
Yeah.
I was saying it wrong.
Oh, yeah. It's like that meme where it's like reading a fantasy novel.
Yeah, it's like random sounds. But no, he makes that muscle rub, and it smells like gingerbread, and that's why. But it's so cute because she's always talking about the smell of him and the damn gingerbread, because their love, it's very touch and go at 1st, their romance. So it's really funny. I think my favorite part of the book, though, was Stephen and Paladin Stephen and Grace's internal monologue. It was hilarious, especially hers. She had me rolling, and I didn't have a favorite quote. I didn't write it down, but there was a thing where she's being hard on herself. And it's so funny because it's like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'd be thinking. So it's so good. I wish I would have. It's such a good book. I gave it 4 stars. It was close to being 5. I think that might be my favorite one by her.
Yeah.
So far. I don't know. And it's weird. I'm not a fantasy girl.
No, you're not
at all, but it was so good. It was so good. I love how she writes her character. I love the characters. I always fall in love with them. I do. Love them. So I think she does that to me. She's probably one of my favorite authors. And this is all because of that. I didn't know who this was. She was like, you should look up this person. It was right when I was starting to get back into reading, remember? And I went to the library. And I got the library, and I got the Hollow Places.
You read the Hollow Places before I did.
Amazing. Oh, it's so good. So good. It was the only book they had. I was looking for all these books, and the library didn't have what I was looking for, but I had that. So I rented it and read it, and I was like, oh my God, this book is great. And she's like, I know, there's so many that are good.
There's so many.
I have more here. I was like, thank you. So anyways, thank you, Bekk.
Of course. I will say that I did find Paladin's Grace on TikTok. It was definitely a TikTok recommendation. Yeah. So I sent it to one of my other friends as well, Ashley, who's the one that gifted me the physical books. And she's like, yeah, you should absolutely read it. That sounds like a book that you would like.
Nice.
And then I read it and I was like, oh my God. The thing with Kingfisher is I am going to recommend it literally to everybody that reads. At least that reads like on the weirder side of things. Like I wouldn't.
Oh yeah.
Like if you're reading like Nicholas Sparks, I probably wouldn't, but like
yeah,
if you're on our spectrum.
It's she's great, and she's funny. Like there's so many times I'm laughing, and it's so, and I've mentioned this in our last podcast, we were talking about it, because it's just so, it rarely happens where I am laughing out loud. I mean, but I mean, I'm laughing.
Oh
like,
yeah,
she has me rolling. Like, oh my gosh, she's so funny. Like, she just cracks me up. So,
well, it's definitely an instance of like, this is exactly how I would react in this situation.
Oh my gosh, yes, very relatable.
Yes.
Yeah, of her characters.
Me too.
Everyone needs to give her a try.
Just give her a try.
Just give her a try. If you're disappointed, I don't even know. Like,
don't come back to us. We will be disappointed in you.
Exactly. Perfect. Yes. It was 399 pages, so not terribly long.
Oh, that's about average.
Too short either. I think it was good. It was good. It was a good amount, and it was great. I liked it. I enjoyed it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. So I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So you have another book, right?
I do. I have one last book, and this is the one that has the trigger warnings. It has the descriptive torture. violence, death, sexual assaults, just regular assaults. And it does end on a cliffhanger. So I have to wait until the next one.
No.
I know.
The worst.
It is the worst. And
okay.
So it's book 3 of 4 of Flesh and Bone series. This one is What Lurks Between the Fates by Harper Woods. You might want to skip over this if you haven't read 1 and 2. I will try my best to keep it as spoiler free as possible, but as the third book, you know, there's things that happen that are pertinent to the story. But the general synopsis is that there is a veil between the human realm and a fae realm, and this is definitely a fantasy book. So that the fae exist, gods exist in this book. Veil has existed for about 400 years. In that 400 years, the humans have developed kind of a virtuous and purity-based religion in an effort to protect themselves from the fae. Our main character is Estrella. She works as a gardener for a manor that is near the Vale. She also has a pretty abusive relationship with the Lord of the Manor. He forces her to pick these thorned berries by hand. He kind of, if she does not sit up straight in his presence, she gets whipped kind of situation. So it starts off pretty dark, but this is much darker than the other two for sure. In the first book, the veil shatters, and it reveals the Fae marked is what the humans call it. It basically means that you are the intended for a Fae to be their mate, because I have a fated mate trope love for some reason. So this is why I picked up this book, because of the fated mate situation. So she ends up having a mark, which is terrible because the soldiers, I guess, of the town will kill you instantly if they figure out that you have a mark. So her and her brother flee the town instantly. The Wild Hunt is after her, which is the Fae side of it, because obviously they want to bring their mates back to... So the idea is that you cannot have children without your intended mate. Like, you cannot produce offspring without finding them. And for 400 years, the Fae side has not had them. So, obviously. So the Wild Hunt is after her. In the 2 other books, she discovers the old gods, finds companions that are also Fae marked, and and she finds a dead city, which the god of death has destroyed, basically. In this book, she's finally taken to the other side. The queen is Mab. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not 100% sure with, fantasy. But she rules the Shadow Court, and she and her companions, Estrella and her companions, are found almost immediately after crossing the Veil. And Mav finds her, takes her to her kingdom, where she tortures her to figure out what she is, basically. Because Estrella is still trying to figure out what she is. When she crosses the Veil, she completely changes. Her ears now have a point. Her skin is different. So the idea is that she's Fae, but we're not 100% sure. So a lot of the book is spent in pretty torturous conditions. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of things that are not fun, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
And the entire time it's because Mab wants to break her so she can control her. But she has to agree. In Fae terms, you always have to give consent, I guess, which is great.
Yeah.
So it does end on a pretty horrible cliffhanger. I'm still mad about it. But
is the last book the next book the last one?
Yes.
Or do you know? Yeah. Okay.
This book took me the longest to complete. It took me probably 2 or 3 weeks because the descriptions of the torture were just so too much.
Okay.
But
yeah,
I had to finish the series. If it wasn't for that, I probably would not have read the book. Also, something that I'm not 100% I don't really love is how much they say male and female to that male over there. It's can you just say?
Really?
Yes. So it's kind of
That's
like
weird.
identify them as other, I guess, maybe, because like in like you wouldn't call a dog a man, so maybe she's saying male because it's a different species or whatever.
Still though, that's kind of odd.
Yeah, it kind of takes you out of it for sure. It is a spicy book, so if you're into that.
Is it good spice or like?
I will say that the male main character is very he always has consent. He is always making sure that she is comfortable with whatever they are doing. So it is very much nice.
Okay.
And also the sexual assaults does happen to him.
Oh wow.
So also an interesting, like, we don't really actually get descriptions of that. Just that we know that it happens to him.
Okay.
And it has been. Yes. So 3 stars, 3 spices.
Okay. You gave it 3 stars.
Yeah.
What about the first 2?
The first one I was completely in love with. Like, I loved the dynamic between the female main character and the male main character. There is kind of some backwards consent, I guess. He kind of tricks her into consenting in the first one. So that was kind of sketchy, but it makes sense as to why he would, but still kind of sketchy.
This one is pretty much because of the descriptive torture. Is that kind of why you, and the male and female thing, are those kind of the reasons you're like,
Yeah, for sure. That's basically the only
still,
problems I had with it, is that it can be too much sometimes, and I didn't feel like I had much of a reprieve between one or the other. The sex scenes were kind of the reprieve between the two, but again, it was definitely like not enough to, make me finish it for sure.
Right. Okay, that sounds interesting, actually.
Yeah, I have a thing also with like gods for some reason.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so I do really enjoy like the mythology against it, I guess, like the hierarchy of this person is this god and this person is this god.
Right.
So the May book is going to be Her Soul to Take.
Did you read that yet?
I have not read that yet. I have read one that is similar, but not, I mean, obviously I read a lot of similar books, so.
Yeah, and then I would like to do next The God of Wrath and Lies. I have a thing. I need to read that book.
Okay, yeah, so that can be June's book.
That can be June's book. And there's 2. We'll see how we like the first. But yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay.
So, Her Soul to Take. Yes. Right now I'm reading Nothing But Blackened Teeth. Have you read that one yet? I know it's on your TBR.
It is on my TBR. I haven't read it yet. I know
it's short. I just started it. I'm gonna be done in like a day. Probably tonight. What are you reading?
I am currently reading The Unlikely Event by LJ Shen.
Okay.
So I only have like an hour left in it because the Kindle lets you know how close you are to the end. By the way.
Oh, does it?
It does.
Does it do that?
It sure does.
Do you like that?
I do.
Is that nice?
I try to beat it.
It's when you're driving, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, this is what time you'll arrive at your destination. You're like, challenge accepted.
Bet.
I'm gonna get, I want to get there even if it's a minute earlier. You're so happy. Anyways, okay, cool. Yeah. So mine is a horror. So
yes.
what's the genre of that one?
Mine is a contemporary romance. It's the same author as the first book that I read this month.
That's right. You said that you were the one.
I am.
Them. Yeah.
But I have so many on my TBR that I probably will go back to a horror book. I like to splatter in between, like maybe like a contemporary romance and then a horror and then a fantasy.
Yeah. My husband said I can get like books for Mother's Day. I told you about this, and like my list is just like, wow.
You have to like actually decide what you want to read.
There's like nothing fun in it. I'm like, this is gonna be. That's why I got like hockey players.
Talking about which,
make me feel better.
Okay, so you brought up hockey. I have to mention the Seattle Kraken, which, by the way, neither of our team. Not my team, not your team. But they are now. Did you read their bio?
The book talk.
Yeah, mostly book talk.
Mostly book talk.
And it's so funny that that is now a thing.
Like, and how it's gone that far.
How it's gone that far, and like, it's obviously tailored to us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're all of our team now.
Oh, yeah.
But it's so funny because I will see things on TikTok and something like, you know, you're like, oh. And then I like to look at comments and it'll be like, wait till book talk gets a hold of this. And it always cracks me up. I'm like, yep.
And I'm not sure if we're seeing like an uptick of like hockey lately because of book talk or because it's just playoff hockey and there's going to be fair weather fans.
I think it's both. Well, people are reading that book.
The Pucking Around?
Pucking Around, and people are
liking
it.
There is one coming out. There's a hockey book coming out in May that I will probably end up reading.
I haven't read one yet. I need to. I really do. I just don't want to spend the money on it.
I know.
It sounds horrible because I know I'm going to buy it and be like, this is so dumb. But am I going to read it all? And probably. Yeah.
Absolutely, I will.
Yes. Oh, I need to get one.
Do you have like an iPad or something?
Girl, no. I got a cell phone. A computer that my husband's on. I have to like reserve time.
Yeah.
I do need to get a Kindle.
I have a meeting at 7 p.m.
Literally.
I know.
Hey, me and Becky are doing our thing. So if you could just
scoot out and not play Valheim for right now.
I heard you guys last night.
Yeah, we were playing until 3 in the morning. Oh my god.
Are you serious?
Yes. Well, we kept dying, so we had to like. Oh no, he didn't. He left at like 1. He was like, "I'm done.
Bye."
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Anyway.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so we do have a new email. It is S&B Monthly, so that's SANDB Monthly at gmail.com. We also have a new website, which is snbmonthly.wordpress.com. And both of our Goodreads will be linked in the show notes. Do you have anything else?
Thank you for all of that.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.